Jones is in there at sort of a second slip, and we're going to guide you through every ball of the remainder of this series. Andrew Leonard alongside Aman Patel. Aman, another entertaining innings, but USA must feel as though they've left, what, 15 or 20 plus runs out there?
Probably a little bit more than that.
Incredibly well, have they? They've kind of taken a little while to adjust, and a lot of that's been down to the skills of Saurav Netra. But there's no Ali Khan tonight. Some Nepal fans may not have seen Janoy Drysdale before, but they'll see him with probably the new ball alongside Netravalkar.
Yeah, Janoy Drysdale's a different flavor of pace than Ali Khan. Probably not as quick, but gets a little bit more bounce off the wicket with a little bit of ways movement. So he keeps you on the back foot, gets a little bit of that lateral movement. But you mentioned these openers. The thing they've done well, keep themselves in the middle. Don't throw wickets away.
Down the leg side, flicked around the corner. Not a particularly good effort from Andreas House with the gloves. We'll wait for the signal. It's given as leg buys, but it will be the first runs. If you're wondering who the majority of the 1,500, maybe 2,000 fans that we have in are cheering for, they seem to be cheering for Nepal.
Seems to be that way all throughout the series, Lenny. It doesn't feel like we're quite in Dallas, Texas, and Andres Gelsos was disappointed on that. Thought he should have gotten to it in his own right. He's moved quick enough, but the gloves are there. It just went right underneath him. But yeah, the atmosphere of this Grand Prix Stadium has been phenomenal. I remember I was down there for the last couple of overs, including the super over, and the roar you got when you got sent into end of regulation, just incredible.
It'll just be a single. The first runs off the bat. There is Drysdale. We've spoken a lot in that first innings about, well, the myriad of selection options that USA have. They almost have too many players. We've probably forgotten half a dozen, if not more, that are there or thereabouts. But Drysdale isn't one of the young options, but he is a very new man to international cricket. He's come in his 30s. He's been really impressive for me since his debut just 2 months ago.
Yeah, he was impressive the first time I got to see him in 2022 with the Philadelphians in minor league cricket. Watched a little bit of tape on him as before he came down to Church Street Park, and again, bowled predominantly on AstroTurf up there. He's played a lot of his cricket in the Caribbean, and he's taken that sense to Philadelphia, now on hybrid surfaces. It was good this year, and he's been great for the USA. It's a real beauty of minor league cricket as well. You've seen a lot of these guys being able to perform. The Shaheen Jahangir is another great example of that, in the minor league, performing and then getting that next level bump.
Can you explain, not to the fans in America, the American fans will know it well, but to those around the world and those watching from Nepal, the difference between minor league and major league? There's not just a huge gulf in standard, but also just the scope and the scale of the tournament.
Yeah, minor league is 26 teams now, all spread out all across the country, so from California all the way to the East Coast, and they're split up into 4 divisions. You have an East, a South, a Central, and a West, and so it allows all domestic cricketers to play. So you have to be of domestic. You get 1 wild card, so we saw Rohan Mustafa actually in the league this season, former captain of the UAE. You see the field shift to add another member into the onside, and it allows the best of the best to play with each other. So Saurav Netravalkar's bowling to Saitej and Mukamala consistently, and that's why we've seen so much progression, I think, of the standard of cricket headed into Major League, as Major League's more your franchise, your IPL competition, versus your minor league would be your county cricket, your Ranji Trophy style.
So the minor league, it probably allows more opportunity for American qualified and homegrown players. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100% fair to say. Again, that's where everyone gets your start. So Hassan Khan started there. Even Saitej Mukamala was able to really progress in that region. So you see a lot of guys born here, and I think that's been the biggest gap it's filled. A lot of times in the USA, you lose guys between the under-19 cycle and the national team. If you don't quite make it on your first go, you probably drop the sport. So minor league's given an outlet for a guy like Skandar Rohit Sharma to keep playing and make his way to USA side.
A single to round out the first over, just 6 come from it. 1 boundary was that 4-leg boys. 1 over in the books in the chase. It's 6 for none.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई-सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ. Starting from just ₹760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the e-Sewa app and secure your future today.
They had Juggun out there on the East Coast. They had people down in Texas. So you're seeing teams start to really ask about the minor league. And you can see minor league playing an impact on the draft as well. Hassan Khan, the second pick in Major League Cricket last season, was because he came into minor league, struck it at 180, averaged over 100. So it didn't get out and hit the ball a long way. And Janoy Drysdale picked up into Major League as well due to minor league performances, and now bowling here in Dallas, Texas.
Some wonderfully named teams as well, aren't there? Like I know in Major League, the Orcas and the San Francisco Unicorns, they're great teams to think about the way they're named, and they're very evocative. But give us some of the flavors, some of your favorite in minor league as well.
Well, in minor league, you got the San Diego Surf Riders, where Marty Kane was over there. We've seen the emergence of, we started out with the Hollywood Master Blasters. That was always a fun one to say. The Baltimore Royals have come to mind. Fort Lauderdale Lions, I think, is one of the good alliterations on there. Plenty of those really fun team names out there. St. Louis Americans also just flows out of there.
The SoCal Lashings. They were one.
They're now the Los Angeles Lashings.
Oh, were they now the Los Angeles?
So now you got the LA Lashings involved.
In the leg side, that'll be given as a wide. I really like the Philadelphians as well. And for those who know their American cricket history, obviously that was kind of the original hub of the game, and there still is some beautiful grounds there. It's played on, is it fair to say, a big mix, a variety of facilities, from kind of the excellent ones like you have here to those that are kind of more burgeoning, maybe sometimes in public parks?
Yeah, you've seen a lot of them in public parks. The one thing about it now compared to season 1 is that you're playing everything on either pure turf or it's hybrid wicket, so nothing on artificial anymore, and I think that's been the big step that minor league has taken. Everyone's playing on really close to natural surfaces.
Just a flick of the thigh pad is the indication from the umpire. I think that's a good decision. That's why it's not given as a wide. It was only half an appeal, really, but the pace and bounce of Drysdale is going to cause problems. There is a huge amount of cricket as well, isn't there, across America? The exact figures are hard to gauge, but they reckon in and around 200,000 cricketers playing every single week throughout a season that can be really long, can't it? It can span almost sort of 10 of the 12 months of the year.
Yeah, because you have such a big country, you have so many different weather patterns and time zones that here in Texas you can play basically all year long. As Drysdale continues, and then in North Carolina, where I'm from, you play around from March to November-ish, and we have 3 different formats over there. You have a T20 format, a 40-over format, and then there's a tennis ball format that plays all year round. Everyone's out there. It'll be January and about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're still out there playing under the lights. They love cricket. I think that's the big misconception, is that there's not a lot of cricket played. There's so much cricket played, and there's hubs. North Carolina, New Jersey, the Bay Area is a big hub. Atlanta's got a hub. Dallas is starting to become a big one.
Even the Midwest, Chicago, there's a huge amount of cricket, not just in the city, but in the suburbs too. As Sheikh tries to make some room, but doesn't get anything on it. Might have kept a touch low. Have you seen a big impact then from the World Cup run? It started to hit areas in terms of the media coverage and wider public knowledge that really has never been in American cricket, well, certainly in the last 50 or 100 years.
Yeah, 100%. I think being a part of Major League, and you were down there as well more, so getting to talk to some of the crowd there, I watched the USA World Cup game, and I wanted to come to this, and it's like, that's a really cool thing to experience. You see news outlets now really interested. I've had a couple reach out, be like, hey, what's the story on this guy here, because we saw him play in the World Cup, and you're seeing a real care and a genuine interest starting to bloom almost just internally, and that's the real natural thing you like to see about our natural interest start to come in that feels way more sustainable.
Yeah, certainly does. Always good to talk all things American cricket with Aman Patel. We got Peter Della Penna, who certainly the doyen, isn't he, of all things American cricket. He's off, I hope, not finding some alligator arms for his lunch right now. Or his dinner. Forget, we're under the floodlights. It's been a great 3 days of cricket, it really has, and in many ways this is kind of the appetizer, isn't it? You talk about those 6 ODIs that we have coming up next week, the importance of them. That short ball will round out an excellent start from Janoy Drysdale. He continues to impress me every time we see him, and with 2 overs bowled, it's 8 for none.
पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो, सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट। नगद छोडौं, फोन पे गरौं।
Actually, having some practices out on the outfield, they've used the nets a couple of times, and so they're ready, primed up to go. And again, these points are so vital. For those of you who don't follow Cricket World Cup League 2, it's your opportunity to get into that ODI World Cup, into the ODI World Cup qualifiers, and then from there you can jump in there. That's how the Netherlands got there. That's how the West Indies missed out in this 2023 edition. So a lot on the line. Again, these 6 games will be really exciting. If the wickets stay like this, and all indications said they will be played 3 games on the same surface, there's plenty in it for the bats of all 3 parties.
Yeah, and certainly if you look at that table, Nepal need to get winning, don't they? There's a huge amount of cricket to be played. It'll run all the way to December 2026. But they don't want to get themselves in the position of needing another miraculous run like they had in 2023. They have just found the going a little bit tough, particularly up in Canada. As Anil Shah tries for the big hit. Neither of these two openers have looked in great form, have they? Kushal Patel was the hero last night, Rohit Paudel in the first T20. They almost look like they're trying to overhit a touch.
Yeah, it does feel as if they haven't found full flow. The one thing you'll say compared to the USA top order is they've just been able to hang in there and take the brunt of Saurabh Netravalkar and Ali Khan in days past now, Janoy Drysdale, and allow a Kushal Patel to come in, or Rohit Paudel to come in just a touch later, come in without the seamers going, come in with maybe the third seam option in Jesse Singh, where they could attack the spinners bowling there. And so that's what you want to happen from your openers, at least see off that initial spell. Especially when you're not chasing a huge total, you can live with this early on.
Well, that's much more like it. And that one's not coming back. It's gone many a mile. Maybe the shorter boundary, but that would have been 6 on the larger one. Netravalkar just getting the line wrong. And the key was there. Asif Sheikh doesn't try to overhit, just goes with it and gets it all the way for the first maximum of the chase.
Yeah, shades of Saim Mukamala against Arif Sheikh in the first innings. It just straight down the leg side. You can see him step out to that direction, and he's just not trying to turn his wrist too much. He's just helped it on its way. Understanding it's a shorter ground. Netravalkar not the quickest in the attack, but plenty of pace on it to just carry it over the top. And like you rightfully said, Lenny, you can just see what happens when you hold the shape. The real difference between a Mukamala and maybe a Monik Patel in the American innings. And you mentioned here for Nepal, this is what the openers have done well. They've held their shape pretty consistently throughout the 3 days of cricket.
To get Netravalkar once, you won't get him on consecutive delivery. You won't get Netravalkar on consecutive deliveries altogether too often. Much better line that time. Yeah, I actually find those ODIs that we have coming up, you and I will be on call for those on the ICC's platforms, Aman. I find them really hard to predict. I have no idea. Will the USA continue their excellent form and go unbeaten? Will they look a bit out of sorts to me? Not just necessarily with their form. It's not the fact they've lost, just their body language looks a little bit negative. I don't know, is there something going on in the camp maybe? But Nepal have found their stride. And in Scotland, they're just so consistent, aren't they? And they are brilliant to watch. The big hammer blow for them, though, George Munsey ruled out with that groin injury. They've got a great replacement, a man who made a century in his ODI debut earlier this summer. But no Munsey, who you could argue is being the best associate batter in the world this year, that's a hammer blow.
Yeah, he's a rock, right? He just, whenever you need it, he gives you it. That's kind of the Deepinder Singh Airi in the Nepal form. He's just always available, always finds a way to impact the game with the bat in hand. Like you mentioned, he's just in an incredible run of form so far, Munsey. You mentioned trying to predict those ODIs. The USA, like you rightfully said, there's just something off. You can just feel it as you're walking in. You see Nepal, they feel connected, the way they run off the field, the way they walk in, versus the USA. Seems as if they're lacking a little bit of bite that they maybe had in June. They'll close out over number 3. Netravalkar responds well after being hit for a maximum. It's 17 without loss.
Ready? 1, 2, 5, go!
15,000 भन्दा धेरै साथीहरूले लाइभ हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ हाम्रो फेसबुक पेज सबैजना साथीहरूले लाइक फलो गरिदिनु होला
125
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
So we ignored those and we asked for some sense as the Nepal fans are really getting into it. But the team in Nepal, up in King City, the Nepal team, they were as together as I've ever seen them at any point. And they weren't far away. They really weren't. They're going to dash a quick single this time as Drysdale continues. So if you looked at those scorecards, you'd have said, well, they're nowhere, they're gone. But all the posts I've seen on social media over the last 48 hours have been, we're back. I know you sent me one. I loved that one.
Yeah.
It was like a graph, wasn't it?
It was almost, you're looking at a life chart. It's just going.
The cardiac kids.
Cardiac kids. Exactly. We're back. It's never been more over. We're so back. It was just, you're riding the highs and falling the lows. That comes with passionate fans. You tend to see that.
You're of a younger generation. I know we share very similar views on many things in life, cricket in particular, but you love a meme as well, don't you?
I love a meme.
There's been some good ones going around this
Lenny,
series.
I'm Gen Z. I gotta love a meme, don't I?
Yeah, that's a great stroke. That's Anil Shah at his fluent best. It's gone a long way, but not all the way. One bounce and four. Banged into the surface by Drysdale. He was sitting on the back foot, almost expecting it, and Shah gets his first boundary.
This is one criticism you'll have with Janoy Drysdale. He just tends to get stale after you've seen him once. He doesn't rush you with his pace if you're expecting the short ball. He gets too short, and it doesn't matter what generation you're a part of, you're going to enjoy that shot.
Shows how true this surface is yet again. And I know Dave Agnew, the head groundsman, the head curator here, said, do not mention me on air under any circumstances. I'm not going to listen to you, Dave. You and your team have done a brilliant job again. And that's nicely guided. That might be four more. Look at how good the surface is, and look at how quick the outfield is. The Nepal fans are getting on top of USA here now.
It's just brilliant work from Anil Shah. Not much wrong with that delivery. It wasn't that wide. He just created the room and opened the wrist very, very late. And able to squeeze it past that short third fielder. The one thing for Janoy Drysdale, pitch it up. They're just camping on the back foot. You get the extra bounce. If you're able to just find a head of a good length, you can then surprise them as they try to drive through covers. Brilliant stuff here from Anil Shah.
Yeah, back-to-back boundaries, and all of a sudden, the scoreboard's starting to move in this power play. Tries to make it three in a row. Now there's a man out there. He's picked him out, and it's put down. Oh, Jesse Singh. He did all the hard work. He got into the right position, and that might be the biggest cheer of the night.
They're loving it because they get to see their bats out there. I'm not sure he got into the right position there, Lenny. He hasn't gotten underneath the ball. That's the big thing. You see him with a dive forward in the end. It's a longer side of the ground, a lot of work to do. Comes high off the bat face, and you'll see him. He's reaching forward. He's never underneath it, never able to settle his hands. And that's the difference between catches taken and not. You often say you take catches with your feet. If your feet are in the right position, you're going to find it right in your palms.
Short, guided away, and only probably half a yard in front of Harmeet Singh, who fields quite well on the bounce. USA have had a chronic issue throughout this series with their positioning of their fielders on that larger side. Yet again, it's gone wrong.
And they finally got it right. He's positioned correctly. It's gone exactly where he stepped. Janoy Drysdale's gotten away with this one as well. That's short wide. Probably could have been hammered away over third, but he's just picked out Harmeet Singh. USA created the opportunity, and that just feels like the story of this tour. They've had opportunities to win these games. They just let it go to waste.
Now that's an authoritative stroke. In fact, one of the strokes of the evening. It's not going to be six, but it will be four more. It's a massive over. It could well have had a wicket in it, but instead there's been 3 boundaries and 16 runs in total from it. It's 33 for none.
No, senor. Picture, please. Picture. Picture coming.
First viewing, only question might have been height, but it's the back foot and the crowd that were reaching fever pitch have been silenced.
Well, the roar there from Jesse Singh, I think, is because he's the one who dropped Anil Shah, and now he's taking that wicket here. It's angled in. It's hit him right in front of middle stump, and I reckon it's a good call. It's hit him on the back leg. Again, very close, but I think that's gone on to hit the top of middle and leg. Jesse Singh gets in on the act, and just what the USA needed as Nepal started to ramp things up. It's 33 for 1 now in the 5th.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई-सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just ₹760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the e-Sewa app and secure your future today.
Kushal Bertel, who hadn't made an international 50 since all the way back in March. His form was so poor at the top of the order that he was dropped down to number 5, 6 and 7 up in Canada. And now, having probably shown a bit in the nets and maybe some discussions amongst the Brain Trust, maybe a little bit of Pupadu Dasanayaka's influence, who's back involved with Nepal as a mentor here. They've got him back not to the top of the order but to this new role of number 3, and you'd imagine with the way he played last night he could be at number 3 for quite a while to come.
Yeah, he's almost locked that position up, and the thing that you loved about him at number 3 was just his intent from ball 1. He was looking to find runs, wasn't looking to slog it around or maybe search for boundaries, but he was going to use his feet. He kept bowlers off balance, and that's almost what you want out of your number 3. You don't allow wickets to fall quickly, and that way the bowling side never feels like they're ahead of the game. That was a real difference in the first innings of match number 2.
And he'll get off the mark. Cheers. There's a great atmosphere building up again. Plenty of fans enjoying the floodlit action. You feel that in a series that's had some contentious LBW decisions, this call is spot on the money.
Yeah, it feels pretty stock standard here from Samir Bandekar. Again, it's hit him on middle stump. The question is height. It's hit him on the thigh, but because it's the back foot in the crease, I reckon that's just gone on to clip the bail of middle and leg stump.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent decision, and I know we've probably been unusually critical of the umpires. There's been, well, a few tough calls. That one was spot on, so credit to umpire Bandekar there. There's Mayank Patel, the captain of USA. Can't do anything about his batting now, nor can Aaron Jones, the vice-captain. They're in the covers together at cover point and extra cover. But they'll be trying to find a way to plot an American victory. As much as anything, I know it's a different format, but very important in terms of going into those ODIs.
See, you need a little bit of momentum. Again, it's been a heartbreaking series. That's super over. You should have won that game. 7 from the final over. You take the batting side 9 times out of 10.
No, big stroke attempted. I don't think he's got enough of it. Harmeet Singh runs back and, well, barely gets an arm on it. You just never look comfortable underneath it. It is a drop chance, albeit a very difficult one. And the difference in the standard of fielding between USA and Nepal, well, it's night and day.
It's been the real difference of the series. Harmeet Singh standing there at mid-on, so he's got a long way to strike back. It is a shorter side of the ground, but he was just never there. He never got to the position to be able to take the catch. Again, very tough running backwards and taking a catch, especially under floodlights. But Harmeet Singh holds himself to such a high standard, I feel like he should have taken that.
It's a chance. To add insult to injury, how often do you see this? The ball after the drop chance, he just slashes it away. Stand and deliver stuff, gave himself some room, gets on top of the bounce and gets 4. 5 have been bowled. It's 40 for 1.
Really different from soap. Ordinary soap dries itself over time. So imagine what it can do to your skin. But Dove is different. Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream, richly blended with mild cleansers, making it softer and more radiant. Get your radiance with Dove.
पैसा पठाउँ ठाउँको ठाउँ फोन पे डिरेक्ट नगद चढाउँ फोन पे गरौँ.
Bad on it. Sheikh does really well. Quick hands through the ball. Just opened the face away from that sweeper cover fielder. Found 4 runs of his own. And This has been a really good start, and it'll allow Kushu Bertel to kind of just settle in to the innings now.
Going to see spin for the first time in this second innings, probably the 8 overs of left arm spin. We'll see, and maybe something from Milan Kumar with the 2 left-handers in Nepal's lineup today. Nosh Kenjigate into the attack. Yeah, we've spoken about that super over a lot, obviously, from last night. Man, it was a sensational game, an unforgettable game. Did you see one little post on social media I want to bring to you? What a stroke. He's certainly back in form, isn't he? Because that's out of the ground. That may well be the shot of the series. A skip down the track and it's launched, well, 100 metres plus all the way, bouncing down the main highway and Grand Prairie.
Well, how about that from Kushal Bertel? You can just see the confidence flowing. He's run at Nosh Kenjigate, not something many cricketers find success doing. He's picked it up off the length. And again, this was the intent. We're talking about the fearless nature of cricket. He's always searching for runs. And Puburu Dasanaika promoting him alongside Monty Desai to number 3. Well, what a stroke of genius that's proving to be.
And maybe one of the loudest cheers of the entire series as well. Simply outstanding. And this is what we saw from Bertel when he first came into the T20I game. It was at the top of the order. It was fearless cricket. And yes, he had a very lean 6 months. But this is the same player. Remember, he made 99 against Zimbabwe in the Cricket World Cup qualifier last year. And he's very much a fan favourite, much like a Dipender Singh Airi, much like a Rohit Paudel, and much like the returning Sandeep Lamachani. We'll see him in the ODIs. Believe he's just landing into USA today. And now a power sweep, bang bang from Bertel. Might not quite have the legs to get to the rope, but Jesse Singh will only be able to save 1 run. They'll get back for an easy 3. Kenjigate hasn't quite looked his usual self, has he, in this series?
I don't think he's looked his usual self really since coming back into international colours this year. He's had one tour where it's, okay, you're back into it, but you haven't seen him been able to really execute his plans the way he wants to. You've seen him struggle with the variations. Again, he's so skilled, but for whatever reason, he just hasn't quite found the money. And I think the intent from these 2 bats have really taken to him.
Just wanted to get to that post on social media. Kastab Gudapati, one of the best statisticians going around on the various platforms. On Twitter, he was saying that there's only ever been 2 grounds that have hosted a tied game, tied international in the same year. Palakkele back in 2012, both in the T20 World Cup, where Sri Lanka and the West Indies beat New Zealand in the Super Over. And this ground here, Grand Prairie, of course, most famously. Sheikh swings and misses. USA beating Pakistan via that super over thanks to the boundary off the last ball that got them there. And then last night, Nepal beating USA in the super over. They could beat the full member Pakistan, but they couldn't beat Sampal Kami in Nepal. Maybe a wide down the leg side. The 50s come up inside the power play.
And then you mentioned beating Pakistan. USA feel like Pakistan right now. They're just all over the place, heads all over. They don't really know what to do. Versus Nepal are coming in with a plan, and they're just playing their natural brand of cricket, similar to what the USA did just 4 months ago.
Swept away. There's a lot of real estate out there, and Jesse Singh has an awful lot of work to do. He almost gives it up. He slides around the wrong side of the ball. Kenjigate's first over goes for 14. Nepal are well in control of this chase at the end of the first power play. It's 54 for 1.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just ₹760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
of the power play, and the USA, they're seeing their chances of winning this match come to an end. And my goodness, what a show we've seen as the spinner comes in. You think to try to take a wicket, not finding it. Look at this, played away. But Peter Della Penna, you joining me here. This dive from Jesse Singh, questionable to say the least.
Well, he used this technique early in the over, and it's not really what you get taught. You want to get behind the ball. He's letting it pass him with the intention to corral it on the opposite side, if you will. Very strange technique as Jesse runs in again. He was luckless in his previous over. After taking that wicket, he could have had 3 wickets in the over. And the fielding, Harmeet Singh skying one. Excuse me, it was Asif Sheikh skying one that Harmeet Singh couldn't latch onto. Difficult chance, but that's the way things have gone tonight. Jesse Singh himself put one down in the field in the 4th over, and this has not been a weekend to remember for USA as Asif waits to get this one from Jesse.
And not a weekend to remember. And again, not the way I think many people would have thought this weekend would have gone. Remember, coming into this series, it was USA with all the momentum. They were the side that was really flying high, and Nepal coming off a really tough tour of Canada. It just felt this was the time where the USA could really put their foot onto Nepal. But Nepal has responded brilliantly.
And part of that response has been the support they've gotten in a quote-quote away series, which has morphed into a home series. The noise went down there for a couple overs earlier, and the noise is incredible. Change of pace from Jesse. Fox's Asif Sheikh trying to keep him off balance and does it well. Trying to rein in the run rate here, but the noise for a crowd. Yesterday, the official number I got from the officials doing the ticket taking was 1,800. It felt like twice that many.
It did.
And again tonight, probably around 1,300, 1,400. They had 800 tickets pre-sold. They had at least a few hundred walk-ups come in tonight, and the noise from the crowd has sapped the energy out of USA in the field. You can see the body language. And even more body language from Asif Sheikh with authority, pumping that one over mid-off for 4.
You mentioned the looks in the field. Well, look on Jesse Singh. That's just a real nothing delivery. It's sat there up in the slot. It's wide. That's not where he's going to want to bowl it. It's tough coming back to back on consecutive days in bowling, but that's no good at any level of cricket, Peter. It's a hit me ball, and Nepal are doing all the damage at the moment.
Yeah, that's the Jesse Singh delivery you would have expected from 5 years ago. Not somebody with the amount of experience he's accumulated in recent years. And again, the noise from the fans here has really given Nepal an extra spark, whereas, again, USA in the field, they just look very flat. Get just a single for this one, going to that short boundary on the west side of the ground as Jahangir relays in. You were out there, I know you were talking about it at the end of last night's game. You were on field. What's the noise like for you when you've been outside?
It's been deafening, for sure. I was standing out by the sports bar and grill, and the last ball, 2 needed from it, and when they don't get it, the roar from that was spectacular there in the black seats, and again, the crowd has just been very vibrant. But what I also notice is you see the expressions of the USA players. I think most predominantly to, the way Andres Kels was almost reacting to Jesse Singh, who wasn't looking for a second run at one point, only went with the single. You can just see that right now. There's just a little bit of complacency settling in. 7 gone, it's 60 for 1.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस् अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
Stage USA was 54 for 2 after 7. Nepal 60 for 1 after 7. They can afford to have a quiet over. They're still ahead of the run rate as Kenjige continues. I'll tell you what else I've noticed, Aman, is the fans down there, they're well lubricated, shall we say. Aman, they're enjoying a bit of beverages on the concourse, and why not? This is 2024. Cricket is meant to be fun. This isn't your cricket and whites and tea and crumpets. This is flashbang, high-octane cricket. And the fans are embodying that off the field. Yes, raise a glass. Raise a glass, my friend. We're here to have a good time.
They're enjoying it. I mean, why not? Your team is up 2-0. You can see the photographers getting in there. They're coming in with signs, flags. They've really added so much. And again, the roars every time anybody in Nepal do anything or even have a chance of anything happening have just been electrifying, to say the least. And Peter, also what I'll tell you is that they're so passionate after the games too, that I remember yesterday after the post-match presentation, Rohit Bodo getting almost just flagged down by every fan in attendance. You had Kushal Bartel taking photos with everybody, and the players seem to just have this infectious energy. They spoke about how it's cool to win away from Nepal, but it feels like they're winning at home, and that's something that has really allowed them to tap into what feels like an extra gear.
Great placement. Impeccable placement by Asif Sheikh. Threads the needle through backward point. Beats Jahangir at sweeper. Another boundary for Nepal.
Smart batting from Sheikh again, seeing that sweeper cover is very much towards an extra cover position. He just had to get it behind square and through the infield. He used the pace of Kenjige, who put it on that occasion, not that wide. You're just seeing Asif Sheikh really come into his own in this innings. It's been dry for him so far in Dallas, but good signs as they head towards the ODIs.
They're going to look for two, and it's placed perfectly yet again. So much green grass on that east side boundary, and USA, even with somebody the likes of Aaron Jones, who's got some of the quickest legs on the team, he still can't cut it off as they, quite frankly, sauntered that too, Aman. That was casual. Took their foot off the accelerator halfway back down the pitch for the second run. And this time, it's hit a bit too firmly towards Simon Kamala, coming in at long on, so they'll take just a single to wrap up a 9-run over, 69 for 1 after 8.
One, two, 5.
19,000 भन्दा धेरै साथीहरूले हाम्रो लाइभ हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। सबैजना साथीहरूले हाम्रो फेसबुक पेज नेपाल प्रिमियर लिग एनपीएल लाई फलो गरिदिनु होला। यो हाम्रो फ्यान पेज हो, नेपाल प्रिमियर लिग को फ्यान पेज। यो पेजलाई सबैजना साथीहरूले फलो गरिदिनु होला। हाम्रो लाइभ 19,000 भन्दा बढी साथीहरूले हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। सबैजना साथीहरूले हाम्रो पेज फलो गरिदिनु होला।
It did happen maybe one time with Harmeet and Nash combining, but they'll find one wicket, and Nepal never seemed to give up any momentum after that. They never turned one into two.
And you can see how desperate USA is to reverse that domino effect by bringing Saurabh Netravalkar back into the attack for his third over here in the 9th, instead of being able to hold him back for some death overs with Ali Khan sitting out tonight. Manak Patel, the USA captain, recognizes he needs a wicket now, or else this match is going to spiral out of control very quickly.
And we're curious to see how this affects the ODI squad. Again, another pace option feels like it would have been really valuable. Seeing what Abhishek Bardakar could have done in this scenario would have been really valuable. You would have felt headed into the ODIs where, you don't have any back-to-backs, but, with Ali Khan's injury history, with Saurabh Netravalkar coming back international cricket, just to have the extra young legs going.
Good this time from Netravalkar. Now, one of the other things you were talking about before the break, Aman, after the last over, was how much energy this crowd is bringing, and it continues after the match. The players sticking around to take pictures and sign autographs for the fans who continue to line the boundary. They're not in a rush to leave Grand Prairie Stadium and go home. not only are they not in a rush to go home from the stadium, they're not in a rush to go home after they leave the stadium, because you go to any of the restaurants in Irving and the surrounding areas, they're having their Momo. I went to one of them last night. It was after midnight, well after midnight. The place was still packed. There were at least 50 Nepal jerseys inside the restaurant, chowing down on steamed Momo. And it just adds to the atmosphere, adds to the community vibe that you're getting here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and specifically in Grand Prairie and Irving. Grand Prairie itself, if you look at it on a map, it's a very bizarrely shaped city. It's almost like a very thin strand. It goes north-south about 10 or 15 miles, but east-west it's only about 2 or 3 miles wide. So you get Irving that straddles it, you get Arlington that straddles it, and you go up Beltline Road, and all along Beltline Road to the north of the stadium, as you get into Irving or Grapevine or some of the other areas, again, you get so many Nepal restaurants, Nepalese cafes, and it just highlights how vibrant this community is to support Nepal. And they're very hospitable. They've got great spirit. They're serenading Aaron Jones, even though it's a day after his birthday. Some of the fans out here, some of the Nepal fans, are serenading Aaron Jones with a happy birthday. That's a spirited cricket moment for Andrew Leonard. He's not in the box right now, but that would bring a tear to his eye. And this will bring a tear to USA's eyes. And a happy tear for Nepal fans as that one clears the sight screen. Asif Sheikh is on fire.
Straight as you like, and my goodness, our camera crew might need to get some helmets on, maybe some protective gear, because that one has just gone under them. Yeah, take away, boys. Well done surviving that one. And the USA are scrambling for answers, because this has just been an absolute demolishing. Even Sarabnat the Volker can't escape it. There's not much wrong with the delivery. It's probably just a touch too wide after it's cut off the wicket. You get hit very, very straight, very, very firmly, right in to the bottom of that scissor lift. And again, well done by camera folks to just stick in. Didn't see them panic at all.
Well, that's an American-made scissor lift. It's industrial strength. It's going to survive a six from Asif Sheikh. It's not going to crumble. The camera operators, part of the crew here, they're doing fine work. They had the confidence that everything's going to be all right. It's not all right, though, for the USA bowlers, as Nepal continue this onslaught here in the chase as they pursue a 3-0 series sweep here in this Stake Stars and Summits trophy here at Grand Prairie Stadium. What do you do if you're USA right now? Where is the answer coming from?
You haven't seen Harmeet Singh. I can't imagine why you haven't seen Harmeet Singh. I get Sarabnat Thavarkar could probably give you a wicket, but Harmeet Singh's been the pick of the bowlers in this series. I had to imagine you go to him at some point. He's the man I turn the ball next to with the ball. Even when he's bowling short side, longer side, doesn't matter. Harmeet Singh's the man that has to bowl.
Coming around the wicket, Netravalkar spears this one into the legs, and they'll collect just a single as Jahangir relays in. 9 runs in the over. Felt like a lot more than that with that thumping 6 from Asif Sheikh. 78 for 1 after 9.
नमस्ते साउजी
नमस्ते
भारत तोरीको तेल पाउन
यो लिनुस् नयाँ आएको सस्तो पनि छ
प्राकृतिक राख भएको विश्वासिलो गुणस्तरीय अनि राम्रो नो कम्प्रोमाइज विथ धारा साउजी
विजयजी
20,000 भन्दा धेरै साथीहरुले हाम्रो लाइभ हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ सबैजना साथीहरुले फलो गरिदिनु एकपटक धेरै साथीहरुले फलो नै गर्नु भएको छैन हाम्रो पेजलाई सबैजना साथीहरुले क्रिकेट अपडेटको लागि हाम्रो पेज फलो गरिदिनु होला हाम्रोमा क्रिकेट सम्बन्धी नेपाली क्रिकेट सम्बन्धी सबै अपडेटहरु हामीले राख्छौं हजुरहरुले हाम्रो पेजलाई फलो गरिदिनु होला
Baldo defender Singairi, Brutel's been a part of 2 of them now, and now Asif Sheikh is getting in on the act as well.
On cue, you were calling for it, Aman. Harmeet Singh, he's finally appeared here in the 10th over, 1 over before the drinks break, to come on with his left arm spin for USA.
One thing for me, Monik Patel is such an aggressive captain and does odd things at times. You would have thought maybe give 1 over in the power play to a Harmeet Singh and be aggressive knowing you have to take a wicket.
quicker this time and flatter, but still punched away by Kushal Bertel for a single. In this series, 2 for 18 in the first match on Thursday night, none for 36 last night, and prior to that, 2 for 21 in his previous T20I against Namibia down in Namibia in Windhoek. More flight this time, varying his pace to keep this pair off balance, and at least it does so for one delivery there as Sheikh shows it some respect by just patting it out to Monank at extra cover. Too short, but Sheikh not quite comfortable with that. Pats it back to Harmeet. Boundary alignment for USA. Deep backward square leg is Jesse Singh. Aaron Jones is at deep mid wicket. Mukamal at long on. Milan Kumar at long off. And Abhishek Paradkar is on as a sub fielder, it looks like. Or is that Shahin Jahangir? It is Shahin Jahangir out at extra cover. And again, so much room out on that leg side boundary. They'll come back very, very easily for 2.
And the one thing for me about bringing Harmeet Singh in now is that you're trying to get back into the game. So Nepal will feel more than comfortable to not have to take Harmeet Singh on. You won't see many expansive strokes unless it's right in the slot. So you really put a lot of pressure on Harmeet to be overly aggressive. Had you brought him in 2 overs or 3 overs sooner, you would have given him a chance to bowl while they're still behind the 8 ball.
And you could see Asif Sheikh was thinking about going big. Instead, he's content to tap it for a single to bring up a half century off 38 balls. And it gives another charge into the crowd. The Nepal fans are loving it. It's 83 for 1 at the halfway stage of this innings as the players take a break for drinks.
को ठाउँ फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडाउ फोन पे गरौ हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्डाको खुसियाली बारबार जितौ 10 लाखको उपहार यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार्ड मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार्ड वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाइ 1 गेट 1 सर्भिसिङ फ्री अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ
आज पनि तातो मोमो खाने
No, senor. Pizza, please.
तातो मोमो खाने हो
Pizza
तातो
खाने।
मोमो क्या भाइ
Pizza.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
मोमो मिया
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्डाको खुसियाली बारबार जितौ 10 लाखको उपहार यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार्ड मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार्ड वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाइ 1 गेट 1 सर्भिसिङ फ्री अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
Is Dove really different from soap? Ordinary soap dries itself over time. So imagine what it can do to your skin. But Dove is different. Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream richly blended with mild cleansers, making it softer and more radiant. Get your radiance with Dove.
तपाईको कपालमा कसको हुकुम चल्छ स्प्लिट एन्ड्सको जिप या हेयर फलको फैसला हेयर प्रब्लम्स मतलब हेयर ड्यामेज डभको 1/4 मोइस्चराइजिङ मिल्क र केराटिन एक्टिभ्सले कपाललाई भित्रैदेखि रिपेयर गर्छ अब सुन्दर लहलहाउँदो कपाल जसमा चल्छ केवल तपाईको मर्जी डभ
आज पनि तातो मोमो खाने
No, senor. Pizza, please.
तातो मोमो खाने हो तातो
खाने।
मोमो क्या भाइ
Pizza.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Mamma mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at
Drysdale
$7.29.
starts the 11th, and he could have a wicket here. He hasn't had luck earlier in the night. Had a chance, dropped off his bowling in the 4th over, but this time the man who dropped that earlier chance in the 4th over, Jesse Singh, holds on at long off.
Needed that, did the USA, had to find a wicket, and this is what Janoy Drysdale can do. He can just surprise you with the bounce that he gets, but Asif Sheikh also knew the situation. Plenty of wickets in hand, felt that he could go big. He's in that kind of state of mind. He's past his half century, a well-made half century, but Jesse Singh in the end holds on to what is a simple catch for the USA. The second wicket falls for Nepal. A well-made 50 for Asif Sheikh. He'll get a handy applause as he departs and is to put everything he could on to this innings. The end of Asif Sheikh comes. It's 83 for 2.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
A lot of fans on the Nepal side of things may have been slightly surprised he didn't make an appearance earlier in this Stake Stars and Summit series. Kushal Malla, who packs an awfully big punch. Doesn't USA know it well? He scored a brisk half century in his debut series back in 2020 against this USA side. I was in Kathmandu at TU Stadium. Comes into Texas having scored 12, 30, 4, and 19 in his 4 innings in Canada during the Tri-Series, and he's here because Asif Sheikh went for a tennis racket backhand swat, and instead it's caught by Jesse Singh in somewhat theatrical fashion, falling on his haunches at long off. Kushal Malla made his debut against USA in 2020 as a 16-year-old. He's only 20 now. As a matter of fact, he might have been technically 15. I think it was just before he turned 16 in that series, just before COVID. It was in February 2020. His birthday's in March. And he's got plenty of experience. Again, we talked about with Gulshan Jas, so many of these Nepal players make their debuts as teenagers. He's only 20, and yet he's played 37 ODIs, and this is his 47th T20. Aman, incredible. Drysdale keeping him honest here.
And he's incredibly talented as well. The stats will back up why he's been in the side, and it was almost a surprise that he was left out because he was kind of one of the lone bats up in Canada, but he averages 26 in T20 cricket with a high score of 137, strikes it close to 150. But this is he's almost Aaron Jones kind of player, isn't he? He just takes his time early on and can really get expansive later. But again, for him, the role would have been 2 days ago or the day before where he did play in a similar facet where he was almost just needing to claw the team out of a situation. Now he's got a little bit more freedom, but the situation will suit him where you're just looking at above a run a ball at the moment.
Tucks under that one. Drysdale looks like he's done a little bit of scouting against Kushal Malla because Kushal likes it full. He's somebody who will drive all day long. It's pitched up, but not necessarily as comfortable against the short ball. But he can hit it big. If you pitch it up, it's going to disappear. He's got the second most sixes for Nepal in T20I cricket, 65 sixes. Second only to Dipender Singh Airi, who's got 72. So he's got more sixes than Kushal Bertal, Rohit Paudel, Asif Sheikh. That gives a little bit of insight into how much power he can pack once he does get set, as you said, Aman, because he's off to a slow start here. And again, sticking to the plan to keep it short. And yet the timing is exquisite. They didn't want to pitch it up, and yet Kushal Malla makes Drysdale pay anyway, ruins a would-be maiden over. Instead, 4 runs conceded off the final ball. It's 87 for 2 after 11.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
A little bit with the bat, but now you have the 3 big middle order batters to come. That's kind of the big deal for Nepal. They have plenty of time. Again, Harmeet Singh's got to find some answers now for the USA. We saw Drysdale get a wicket. Can Singh find one?
He almost did. Hands on head. So close yet so far. Harmeet giving it some air. Spins it past the outside edge. And this was that boundary. Perfect placement, perfect timing by Kushal Malla to end the previous over. Back to live action now. And this one skirted wide of Mukamala. Out of cover sweeper who fumbles it. And that ever so slight fumble opens the door for a very alert second to be taken by Bertel and Kushal. Great running between the wickets.
Short side of the ground, and they're able to find it because they run the first one so very hard. Think about in the USA's innings where Mukamala was nearly run out by Aaron Jones trying to run 2 to the short side. It's because the first one wasn't run as quick. These two, they know the running between the wickets is what's going to win them the match.
This time the sweep, a shot that we really haven't seen a lot of in the series against the spinners, but Bertel gets it for 1 behind square. Slight change in the field setting for USA as Mukamala, who was at option straight down the ground. Kenjige now with Kushal Malla on strike, the left-hander. This is one of the challenges that gets presented, having to swap your fielding alignment around. Kenjige moves from inside the circle out to deep mid-wicket for the left-hander on that short boundary. Mukamala is at deep square leg. Milan Kumar straight at long on. Jahangir at long off. And Monank can't prevent the single on that occasion.
Really a superhuman effort there from Monank Patel. He's got it diving to his right. He's falling away. He throws it down. That's why he's gotten a round of applause from Andres Kraus and Harmeet Singh. And efforts like that the USA need to see from really everybody involved, because even if you don't go on to win today's game, you have to find a way to take some momentum with you. Take a look at this. He's dove out to his right. He's able to fling it back. They're going to come back for another 2 runs. This is brilliant stuff here. Harmeet Singh had to go fetch it. But Nepal's so aware, and they're doing everything just right.
Kushal Malla is saying, hey, come on. You got to give me a better heads up than that. Kushal, you got to watch what your teammates have been doing all series. He's not happy because Vijay Malala signaled 1 short, so actually they're only going to get credit for 1 run there. And because it was Malala who made the signal, it's actually Kushal Bertel who didn't get his bat across the line. Unless the signal came from square leg, Samir Bandekar. So that's why Kushal Malla not happy. It was actually Malla at the striker's end. The signal came from Bandekar and then was relayed to Vijay Malala. So that's why it was called 1 short, as a wide is signaled here. So 1 illegal delivery left in the over. More flight again, and Monank with another diving stop. He's playing in front of family here. His brother Harsh is in attendance, lives locally here in Dallas, and he's out to support his brother, who makes a great diving stop to deny a single there. 6 runs in the over, 5 off the bat. It's 93 for 2 after 12.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस् अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
Monaco Patel, a little bit more swift of foot than of the two, and so now Nash Kenjige coming in. Monaco will look to him to deliver that third wicket. They need to find him if the USA want any chance owning today's matchup.
Inside edge by Mala. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Is Andres Kraus, it's not that he's a bad fielder, but you felt like he was a little bit more anonymous when he didn't have the gloves on for USA, and yet Monank, even though he might prefer to have the gloves on, he's, as you said, got a much better first step attacking the ball in the ring. And in some ways, it's arguably better for USA that Kraus has got the gloves on behind the stumps, and Monank is a much more efficient fielder in the ring as a wide is signaled down the leg side.
Well kept as well from House, probably saved a couple of the runs there.
Darts it in flat and short, and it allows Mala to just tap this off the back foot towards Jesse Singh, long on for one.
You can see the plan here from Kenjige. He's trying to use a little bit of the moisture that's happening right now on the surface, a little bit of the dew, to try to get it to skid on from back of a length. So hopefully for Kenjige, he's trying to just get it to hang a little bit lower. And just as Nepal settles onto the back foot, gets one to sneak through, and he can also flight one up, and as all the weights on the back foot, create a false shot.
Diving over the ball is Jahangir. USA's fielding just hasn't been good enough tonight or in the series as a whole. Another boundary for Kushal Bertel.
Again, this is just a sign of things not going USA's way. They just haven't found any way to keep momentum on their side straight throughout the series. Too wide from Kenjige. Yes, the arm ball coming back in, but still enough width on offer. Yeah, you can make a face at Jahangir, but not the delivery that Kenjige was looking for. Normally so accurate, hasn't been in a complete flow yet.
More flight this time, and still Bertel finds a gap, gets it past Monank, and extra cover, and it's got to be cleaned up by Jesse Singh for a very easy two.
That'll be the 100 for Nepal, and again, we talked about Kenjige unable to be accurate. Another example of that, but how good have Nepal been in this run chase? Again, they've controlled every facet with the bat, even with the wicket falling early. They just seem to never let that affect the way they play. They've been aggressive, they've been smart with their options, their running between the wickets have been good. Kushal Bertel is now starting to put the impetus on himself to score the runs.
Well, the Nepal players are sitting in the dugout as Jahangir makes up for the miss on the previous diving attempt, saves at least 2 runs there. The Nepal players are sitting in the dugout, yet the Nepal fans, they're on their feet. They can't get enough of this. Looking down below us, section 103, section 105. They're on their feet. They're cheering every run. They love everything that this Nepal side has delivered over the course of these 3 matches in this Stake Stars and Summits series. And Nepal, again, looks on course to complete a sweep. Last ball from Kenjige, perfectly weighted by Mala. They're going to look for 2, and they're going to get it quite comfortably. Jesse Singh is not going to relay it back in time. So fantastic running continues between the wickets for Nepal. 11 runs in the over. 10 off the bat. It's 104 for 2 after 13.
1, 2, 5, go! On a Honda Dio.
Bye-bye.
On a Honda Dio.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
Seven overs left, and Kushal Bertel, well, he's picking up from where he left off last night. Andrew Leonard sitting into the hot seat alongside Peter Della Penna for the last time in this series. Peter, I think it's fair to say that this inaugural Stake Stars and Summits trophy has been a huge success, but maybe not in the way in which USA would have wanted it to be on the field. Off the field, it's ticked every box you could imagine. But are we staring now at a potential 3-0 series clean sweep?
Well, we're staring at that. We're staring at a sea of red, white, and blue Nepal fans. Not red, white, and blue USA fans. It's red, white, and blue Nepal fans who are loving this, Lenny.
There's also, oh dear, a collision, and this could be nastier than we would have liked to have seen. I think it's Milan Kumar, Peter, is it, who he's just run into the side of Kenjige's shoulder. No communication, because that's in front of one of the most packed parts of the crowd, and Kumar looks in real trouble.
Well, again, in some ways this sums up how USA has struggled this year's communication out there on this occasion. Both guys full of effort to try and stop the second. Kenjige is coming from left to right, Milan Kumar from right to left, and basically Kenjige winds up hip checking Milan Kumar right in the head and shoulder. It was Milan Kumar who bore the brunt of that. Kenjige heading over to collect, and Milan Kumar just collided, got his head and neck right into the hip of Kenjige. He's down on the ground right now.
Yeah, you'd have to think that with only 6.5 overs left after this, that Kumar is not going to be best place staying on. There's ODIs to follow, and that will be the concern right now. In theory, they could utilise a concussion replacement, but a lovely moment. A big ovation from the Nepal fans, because Kumar has just sat up, and you talk about how sporting they have been and their passion for the game. A lot of the Nepal fans who are here are in their adopted home, people who've come over to study and live in the United States, and that for me, definitely one of the moments of the series.
Well, it looks like he's maybe just got the wind knocked out of him. I think it was just maybe being stunned by the collision, because he's holding his ribs right now, and the contact was made with his head. If anything, you'd think he'd be grabbing at his head and his shoulder, and now he is grabbing at his shoulder. So again, it's Nash Kenjige coming from deep mid-wicket. He's going left to right. Milan Kumar is coming from long on, going from right to left. And it's his head that collides with Kenjige's hip, and that left shoulder that he was grabbing at just as he walked off the field. That's where the damage was done.
And Peter, for those who know their American cricket like you do, Nash Kenjige might not look imposing, and he's not necessarily a tall figure, but he's a very strong guy. He's a guy who prides himself on phenomenal gym work, and really Milan Kumar's borne the brunt of that. We wish him well. He's gone off. Yasser Mohammed is his sub-fielder. He's down at long on. And as Kushal Malla is going to take him on and hit it to his right. You sense that Kushal Malla, who battles so hard up in King City on the difficult tracks, was going to enjoy it when he came onto the flatter wickets here. Brought into the team to attack left arm spin, and that's what he's doing beautifully here.
Well, it's not just that, but he attacks anything full. Again, the scouting report on Kushal Malla is don't pitch it up. You cannot give it to him full because he'll murder it. Much better from Harmeet there. Back of the length, short, is okay to Kushal Malla. If you pitch it up, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, I've said before that Kushal Malla, he likes to eat left arm spin for breakfast, lunch and dinner. It's definitely his favourite diet of what he can be served up. He's a broad-shouldered young man. You talk about the gym work that he's done. He's put on serious muscle. Bertel just looks a different player, doesn't he, from 3-4 months ago. He's been really good. The equation now, 45 to win off 37, still very much in Nepal's favour. Down the leg side, a flick of the pad. And this is going to race away for a couple. Netravalkar will have to do the work. I think it'll be leg buys to round out Harmeet Singh's third over. Hasn't quite had the impact on the series that he would have liked, has he? The left arm spinner. It's 114 for 2.
No, senor. Pizza, please. Pizza. Pizza coming. Pizza.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
7 runs in the 16th, 6 in the 17th, 6 again in the 18th, and 7 in the 19th for USA in that stretch that you're referencing, Lenny. And just 1 boundary in that stretch as well. And that's coming back to bite them in a very big way.
Here comes Drysdale again. As Kushal Malla times that nicely through the offside. This will be his final over. Peter, I know you're a big man for social media. I've got to give you one here from social. You're going to love this. Nepal has, I hope I've got this right, I think 9 of the 14 summits in the world that are 8,000 meters or more. And one of the most famous of them is Annapurna, and received a tweet from Pratik, who sent me a message right early this morning whilst it was still pitch black, about 5:30 a.m, because he's up at the Annapurna base camp, and he is now followed up with a photo. I'm going to retweet this here because it's absolutely stunning. He says, here you go. He's on Annapurna base camp, and in his hand he's got the photo with the Kantapur Max TV HD footage. He's watching the stake Stars and Summits trophy, rather fittingly, from the base camp of one of the most beautiful summits anywhere in the world, Annapurna. It's even better than Everest base camp, the trail up to it. You leave from Pokhara to get there. How good a photo is that?
Well, that sums up the passion of Nepal fans. If you thought what you're witnessing around the concourse here in Grand Prairie is passionate, well, that takes it to new heights, literally and figuratively, Lenny.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And certainly, I hope I've got the number right. It's either 8 or 9 of the 14 summits of 8,000 meters or more in the world. They're within Nepal. And it's known as the Himalayan nation. They've got the Nepal Premier League coming up, that festival of the Himalayas, as they've dubbed it. It's known for much more than that now, because their cricket team is really helping to tell the story of the beautiful nation of more than 30 million people and the big diaspora all around the world. And they're having not just a night, but a weekend to remember here in Texas. Helped round the corner. That'll be 4. Not the right line from Drysdale. And USA, well, they're being blown away here.
Well, Ahmed Patel compared some of the shots that Saimo Kamal was playing to Surya Kumar Yadav, and I know they're both right-handers, but there was a little bit of Sky in this shot, just getting inside the line and playing that flick pull shot. That Sky has made one of the cornerstones of his batting. You just get the mirror image of it with Kushal Malla. Just flicked it over the fine leg fielder for a very easy boundary.
Well, the return of Kushal Malla to form is maybe the last tick in the checkbox of, if they close this chase out, would be a T20I series that Monty Desai could not be any happier with.
So close, yet so far for USA. Just the small moments in the first 2 games really let them down. They were in winning positions. And the death in particular is where USA faltered. So much attention on the super over and USA's collapse at the end of the chase. But as you mentioned, Lenny, almost a footnote in the match yesterday, the last ball 6 by Karen KC at the end of the first innings, and how consequential that was. 9 runs in the over. It's 123 for 2 after 15.
तितो औषधिबाट बच्नु छ भने लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङले नुहाउने गर्ने हातबाट कीटाणु मुखमा खुरु खुरु तब हुन्छ सबै रोग सुरु
त्यसैले लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ यसले दिन्छ कीटाणुहरूबाट 100% स्ट्रङ सुरक्षा
जम्सबाट बच्न अब पाउनुहोस् 100 ग्रामको लाइफ बोय साबुन मात्र रु 45 मा
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
The Annapurna Base Camp, one of the most beautiful mountains anywhere in the world, and certainly one of the jewels in the crown of Nepal.
And I know a lot of people watching back in Nepal on Kantipur TV and the Nepal fans watching elsewhere in the world are wondering, Lenny, when are you going to make an appearance at Annapurna Base Camp?
I've promised to do it at some point. Now, because all the time I go to Nepal, I've been there over 30 times now, I'm always working, I'm always busy commentating on cricket. But certainly that's got to be on the bucket list. And it's not about Everest Base Camp, it's all about Annapurna Base Camp. It is 8 of the 14 8,000 plus peaks they have, not 9. I gave them one too many, obviously most famously with Everest at the iconic 8848, but also not just one Annapurna, but 2 Annapurnas. As Mala goes through the offside very elegantly for 4 more. Are we seeing a return of a second Kushal back to his best? After Bertel blitzed his way into form, now it's his namesake Kushal Mala who's looking really good.
Well, USA is being taught quite a few lessons in the series. And one of those lessons that Kushal Mala is teaching them right now, if the selectors are watching from USA, is the importance of having a left-hander. They've left Stephen Taylor out. They don't have anybody in their top 7 batting left-handed. And Kushal Mala is showing something to the selectors for USA, and maybe they need to rethink going into the ODIs.
There is an argument to be made. Nepal will be elated if they can get this chase done. They need just a fraction over a run of ball here. But there's an argument to be made that if Mala had played the first 2 games, this series might have been even worse for USA.
Well, I thought I was labeled as the pessimist, buddy.
It doesn't feel like an awful lot's gone right. Saiteja Mukamala has been brilliant. Andre's House at points. As he goes down towards long off, but straight to the man. Nepal fans are cheering every run now. But this is a side who looked untouchable in the Netherlands. In reality, they should have won all 8 games on that tour. They managed to conspire to lose games to the Netherlands on their home soil, but they looked brilliant in Windhoek. I'm not quite sure where it's gone wrong for USA on home soil here.
Well, they've got question marks in terms of the balance. Again, Milan Kumar, who took a 5-wicket haul in Windhoek in his last match, he only bowls 1 over here in these 3 matches. You don't have the overs from Stephen Taylor because he's obviously not in the squad.
Short ball, is it too short? No is the answer.
And in terms of the batting, that left-right balance just isn't there. Recently you had Corey Anderson, you had Stephen Taylor, you had, as you repeatedly said, Gajanan Singh. And the balance off the field as well hasn't been there, Lenny, because Phil Malky cuts an awfully lonely figure in the crowd amongst 1,500 Nepal fans. Phil Malky making the trip down from Cleveland, Ohio, USA super fan. He was in the Netherlands. We saw Phil and
family.
Phil and family came out to the matches that were out in the Netherlands that we were there for.
He's worked into the leg side, gonna be 4. And it's another misfield, not easy for Aaron Jones, but they just cannot get their positioning right on the larger side of the ground. And now it's just a run of ball that's needed.
Too short. Jesse Singh's pace tonight just sits up waiting to be whacked. Aaron Jones in vain.
Try and get two here, and because Mala and Bertel are both very quick, they'll get them comfortably. USA are being run off their feet. It's an 11 run over. The score moves to 134 for two.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just ₹760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
We've just loved every second of the atmosphere here. The colour and the passion that's been brought by the predominantly Nepal fans. Occasionally they get a little bit too enthusiastic. I think that fan was somewhere where he probably shouldn't have been, and the security just bringing him back to where he needed to be.
Well, I have to applaud our production crew, Lenny, that they were able to find Phil Melky in the crowd, because finding a person in the crowd with a USA jersey is like finding Where's Waldo. Got all these Nepal fans in red, white, and blue. Where can you find the USA jersey, red, white, and blue? Phil! Where's Waldo? Phil Melky!
Well, a needle in a haystack amongst the passionate Nepal fans. And this could be interesting. I suspect, Peter, that Kushal Malla is not going to think about 23 off 23 with 23 singles. He's going to take on Harmeet Singh here. Whether he gets him or not, at some point in this over, expect a big shot. And there it is. Doesn't get it, but he will probably pick up a couple because he's mistimed it. If one goes up into his hitting arc, Peter, he could head up towards the floodlight pylons and the supermoon that's beyond it.
And one thing I'd like to do, while there's time remaining in this match, just go count the twos. Because Nepal have run circles around USA quite literally in this series. With the running between the wickets, the amount of twos they run, not just in this match, but throughout the series, far greater than USA.
And there it is, right on cue, and he does get enough of it. Kushal Malla loves left arm spin, and the meme yesterday was, we're so back. Both Kushals are now back. What a stroke, what a shot, what a player.
Well, you say you love spin, he also loves it full, Lenny. That's right in his wheelhouse. And now it's headed towards the outhouse. Past the boundary rope. Another monstrous hit from Kushal Bertel. I'm looking here, Lenny. USA ran 9 twos in their innings.
Whilst you do that, Peter, I just want to talk a little bit about the growing maturity from Kushal Malla. There was times previously where after that 6, wherever the length of the ball was, he'd have tried to go again. But this time, he's just added an element of real poise to his game. He checks it down, takes a single, gets Kushal Bertel back onto strike. Very impressive batting.
USA ran 9 twos. Nepal has run 12 twos, and that doesn't include 2 leg buys, which don't necessarily count off the bat, and we're still in just the 17th over. This chase isn't going to last to the 20th over. And again, it's a subtle thing, but it highlights the strength of Nepal's running between the wickets, USA's weakness in cutting off twos, and conversely, USA's lackluster running between the wickets, if you will, and Nepal's insatiable appetite in the outfield to cut off those twos and have such electric fielding to deny those runs. End of this over. 11 runs from it. It's 145 for 2 after 17.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुहोस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
I'm not sure there's a more talented cricketer that Nepal have produced with the bat than the left-hander. He's got X-factor unlike maybe anything I've seen in all my time covering the senior Nepal team. He's not perfect, he's not the finished article, but he's a fine young all-rounder and he'd be in my starting 11 every day of the week. And it's great to see him back to his best. He battled up in Canada at strike rates that you'd be unaccustomed to see him playing at. Inside edge, they'll get a single, but he's back to striking up towards 150, which is what he's done his whole career.
So what I'm hearing you say, Lenny, is that Dave Agnew, the magnificent groundsman here in Grand Prairie, has he sabotaged the home side by preparing beautiful batting wickets that Nepal has taken advantage of to get their players back into form?
And they're certainly enjoying the better batting wickets. The strike rate's at 150. At one point earlier in his T20I career, Malla was striking up towards 170. Nobody's ever done that consistently in the world game, not even Glenn Maxwell. His career rate is 147 because of a dearth of runs in the last 4 or 5 months, but it's just great to see him back to his best. There's a sense of inevitability to this result. Peter, just need to go back to social media for one more second. I've got confirmation that the reason as to why Pratik was able to send us that photo is that up at the base camps, thanks to WorldLink, there's high-speed Wi-Fi at Annapurna base camp. So he's watching it in full HD and loving every second, and he can't believe his photo was just on the global feed. So big thanks and a shout out to him. Don't go send us in more photos, anyone else. We're not going to bring them all up. That was a one-off. But great to hear from you all watching in your hundreds of thousands, your millions around the world.
What a time to be alive, Lenny. 2024, ain't it grand? Here in Grand Prairie.
Too right. It's 10 to win off 16. And I think for Nepal to really put their stamp and their icing on the cake of what is going to be a glorious 3-0 series victory, they'd love one of these two to hit the winning runs and both of them to still be there.
Well, just 9 more needed. USA have a lot to think about. Ahmed Patel mentioned earlier when you asked him about the ODI squad, well, the selectors may be waiting to see what happens in those USA A matches. If anybody wants to push their case in those 2 games coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday against Scotland and Nepal. And based on what we've seen here in these T20Is, as they run a 13th-2 microcosm of this series, the running between the wickets for Nepal has just been head and shoulders above USA. And what looked like a once settled lineup for USA coming out of the Namibia tour maybe now has a little bit of pressure potentially being applied to it if anybody in that USA A series on Tuesday and Wednesday produces some quality performances. It may give the USA selectors food for thought as to what they want to do when they finally announce the squad that'll take on Scotland in the first ODI on Friday.
150s come up in the 18th over. It really is just a question of when now rather than if Nepal will complete this 3-0 clean sweep, and they have loved every single second of it. We are here for the clean sweep, says that sign, and they've turned out in great numbers again. USA have been a little under par, I think it's fair to say, but Nepal have been exceptionally good, haven't they, Peter?
As I said, head and shoulders above USA. On and off the field, I can see Phil Melke. He's moved all the way now to section 104. He's right in front of us, Lenny. He's standing at the back of the grandstand. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's certainly not clapping because there hasn't been much to clap about for USA tonight or in the previous two matches. Meanwhile, the contrast is the Nepal fans. They're on their feet. They want to give this team a rousing send-off. Most of them no longer in their seats. They're on their feet cheering every single run. They want to keep on cheering until this pair gets them across the finish line.
Well, Nepal are now within a blow. It's just 4 to win. They have roundly outplayed USA, really in every facet, particularly in their fielding. 2 remain. It's 153 for 2.
Ready? 1, 2, 5, go! On a Honda Dio.
Bye bye.
On a Honda Dio.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं, शुद्ध रोजौं, मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु।
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा।
Has maybe more talent, especially if you see what USA did at the T20 World Cup, beating Pakistan, running South Africa very tight. Now, Nepal ran South Africa very tight, but in a completely different way in the World Cup. But USA was mighty impressive, and yet part of the reason why Nepal couldn't get that first ever victory over Test Nation in the World Cup was their batting was so brittle, and that's what's been so impressive about this series. Their batting has been really stern in the face of this USA bowling. And they've been sturdy, they've been robust, whether it's the running between the wickets, as they've now brought up a 14th run two in that last over, 13th and 14th run two to end that last over. And again, USA just 9. It's those little things, those subtle things that have made such a big difference in the series and have made a tremendous impact. USA can't cut off the twos in the field. Nepal is running them at will between the wickets. And then when USA is at the crease, they've struggled to turn ones into twos, as Nepal in the field has been relentless attacking the ball.
3 required to win. Don't rule out Kushal Malla finishing it in grand style here. It's dragged down, it's hammered away, but it will be one bounce to the fielder. And maybe it's fitting, given Kushal Bertel's performances over the last 48 hours, that it will be he who can hit the winning runs.
And on the flip side, if you're USA, Nash Kenjige is somebody who typically it's impossible to wipe the smile off his face. He's the happiest guy in the field, wherever he is for USA. Just look at the look on his face. That also sums up where USA is at in this series. He's got a very serious look.
Full toss, but it's straight to the man. So it's going to be Malla. Knowing Kushal Malla, Peter, he's not going to be tapping a single here.
Well, and USA, I think, knows that, Lenny, because even though scores are level, they've still got 5 guys on the boundary. They're not looking to stop the one, they're looking for the boundary catch. Playing to Kushal Malla's ego. Now Kenjige's saying, oh, we want to bring Yasser Muhammad in, but they still got long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, and a deep backward square leg in place. When's the last time you saw scores level and 4 men on the boundary, Lenny?
Here we go, scores are tied. And Malla will just punch it for a single. There's no need to do any more than that. And listen to the roar of the crowd. It's a historic, a famous, a landmark Himalayan clean sweep in Texas. It's the first time that whitewash in any T20I series. They've done it over a side that went to the Super 8 of the T20 World Cup here on home soil. They came in as underdogs, but they will leave as comfortable victors. There will be joy across back at home, but tonight, under the floodlights on a Sunday night in Texas, Nepal have made history. Nepal 3, USA 0.
And the smiles on the faces of these fans say it all. They've got the phones out. They want to capture this moment for posterity's sake. There's been so much for them to smile about. USA, on the other hand,
24,000 जना हाम्रो साथीहरूले लाइभ हेर्नुभयो सबैजना 24,000 नै साथीहरूले हाम्रो फेसबुक पेज फलो गरिदिनु होला नेपाल प्रिमियर लिग एनपीएल को हाम्रो यो फ्यान पेज हो यो पेज सबैजना साथीहरू हाम्रो 24,000 जना साथीहरूले हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ लाइभ सबैजना साथीहरू फलो गरिदिनु पेजलाई सपोर्ट गरौँ